When I was growing up, whenever we would go on a day trip, my parents would pack Witte Bolletjes, which we would eat throughout the day. Now as an adult, I often crave these fluffy white rolls with either hagelslag, chocoladepasta, speculaas or something hearty. Today we are making a Dutch classic, Witte Bolletjes. These soft, pillowy rolls are great at breakfast or as a snack when you're taking a road trip. Even now, whenever we visit the Netherlands and my parents come to pick us up from the airport, they bring a bag with several of these with hagelslag or chocolate paste on it. To make Witte Bolletjes, you will need 575 grams of all-purpose flour, 335 grams of whole milk, 50 grams of unsalted room temperature butter, 20 grams of superfine sugar, 10 grams of instant yeast and 10 grams of salt. To finish the bolletjes you will need 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of milk, a pinch of salt and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We're going to start by activating the yeast. I already have the milk in a pan over low heat and I'm going to heat it up until it's 44 degrees Celsius or 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So before I check the temperature, I stir it up a little bit to make sure that the milk is heating up evenly. You don't want to touch the bottom of the pan with your thermometer. I'm going to keep a close eye on the temperature because you don't want to go too much warmer or it will kill the yeast. It's okay if it's a degree or two over, but you don't want it to be significantly warmer than that. 107, 108, 109. Okay. 111. I turned off the heat. Now I'm going to add the sugar. Just mix it up a little bit. I just want the sugar to dissolve into the milk. And now I'm going to add the yeast. The sugar really helps to feed and activate the yeast. I'm going to prepare the rest and I'll just let this sit. I've put my flour in the bowl of my stand mixer with the dough hook attached. Next thing I'm doing is I'm going to add the salt and I'm just going to give it a quick mix. Okay. When I was weighing out the butter, I already divided it into 4 about equal pieces because we don't want to add the butter all at once while we're kneading. So I have already portioned it out. If you didn't, please break your butter into 4 or 5 pieces. As you can see, there are nice bubbles forming on top of the milk. So now we're ready to start mixing. I'm going to turn the mixer on slow and then drizzle in the milk until all the milk and yeast is added, and then we're going to add 1 little piece of butter at a time. Okay, here we go. You want to use your spatula to make sure you get all the yeast out of the pan. Okay, I'm going to add my first little piece of butter. You can definitely smell the yeast. I can no longer see the other piece of butter, so it's fully incorporated, so I'm going to add the second piece. I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl to give the hook access to the flour a little bit better. Okay. And now we turn it back on. And I'm going to add the third piece of butter. Last piece of butter goes in. Going to scrape the edges again. I'm scraping some of the wetter dough off the hook to make sure everything can incorporate a little bit better, and just turning it over in the bowl. Of course, you can also knead this by hand, but it's a little bit easier in the mixer. Today is not a very humid day here. As a matter of fact, it's quite dry, and I'm noticing that not all the flour is getting incorporated. I even have some very dry dough on the outside of the bowl. So I'm going to lower the bowl, and with my hand, going to kind of feel it and knead it together a little bit to see if I can get it incorporated, and if not, add like a tablespoon of milk, which I think I'm going to need. So I'm going to grab some milk and add it to the bowl. Okay, I have a tablespoon of milk that I'm going to add. Adding the tablespoon of milk seems to have done the trick. So now I'm going to turn my mixer back on and let it knead for 10 minutes. The dough has been kneading for 10 minutes and it feels like a very smooth dough. So I'm going to lower the bowl and remove the dough. I'm going to put the mixer away, and then we're going to divide and shape these. If you're enjoying this video, please click the like and subscribe button. It will really help our channel. And if you want YouTube to notify you whenever we post a new video, click the bell. We're going to divide this dough into 16 equal pieces, around 61 grams each. So use a dough cutter or a bench scraper to do so. All right, that's 61. And we're going to do that 16 more times. We're going to do that 15 more times. You want to make sure that you cut your dough, don't rip it, because you don't want these gluten strands to be broken. I've moved away the scale in the dough scraper so I have enough counter space to shape my dough. I'm going to take a little corner of the dough and fold it over to the middle, and I'm going to go all the way around, adding some tension and turning it into a little bit of a ball. Going to pinch the bottom, put it seam side down, and with my hand around it, I'm going to make circular motions. Make sure that the dough stays in constant contact with your hands, or with your hand. And you want to see a little bit of tension on the top. I'm going to put that on my cookie sheet with parchment paper, and I'm going to continue. Flatten it a little bit, then take a corner, pull, move to the center, about 6-7 times. And pinch it at the bottom, seam side down, under your hand, and just roll it. If you see a professional baker doing that, they do 2 at a time. I'm not that skilled. I'm going to finish the rest, and now we'll be back. All right, I'm done shaping all the rolls. So I have 2 damp towels that I'm going to use to cover the rolls. You want to make sure that they are completely covered and no air can come in from underneath or from the sides. Same for this one. I'm going to put these in a warm place to rise for 40 minutes. The first rise is done. Let's take a look. You can see that they have definitely grown in size. And here, and here you can see that I didn't do a good enough job pinching that, but that's okay because we are going to flatten these and roll them into balls again. So we can fix whatever mistakes we made. When we went through the ingredients, I had an egg, a tablespoon of milk, and a pinch of salt, and I've combined those and whisked it together to make an egg wash. Okay, flatten, push all the air out, pull and fold into the middle, pull, fold into the middle, go all the way around, and now pinch it really well. Once you've pinched it, you roll it again. And we're going to repeat that with the rest of them. I just finished rolling the last of the dough balls, and I'm putting it back on the exact same cookie sheet and parchment paper that they were on the first time around. Because next what I'm going to do is brush them with an egg wash. Not too much, just a little bit on the top to give them a little color as they're baking. But first they have to rise again. So this first cookie sheet I'm going to put in the fridge because I can't bake both of them at the same time. So this is going in the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to add it to the other cookie sheet to continue rising. Put an egg wash on the second batch. This tray is going into the warm spot right away to rise for 75 minutes. Of course, since we put egg wash on it, there is no need to add a towel. It's been 20 minutes since the first cookie sheet with balls of dough has been in the fridge. I'm now going to put it in the warm spot with the other one, where it is going to proof 75 minutes from now. I typically fold over a little corner of the parchment paper so I know which one is the one that went in second. In about 15 minutes, the first sheet of rolls will have finished its second rise and will be ready to go into the oven. So I am preheating the oven to 230 degrees Celsius or 450 degrees Fahrenheit, non-convection. The first batch of rolls came out of its warm rising spot, and I'm going to put them in the oven right now. These are going into the oven for 12 minutes until they're golden brown and have reached an internal temperature of at least 203 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been 12 minutes. Let's take a look at what the internal temperature is. Oh, they look great. 204. Perfect. They're done. I've melted the butter, and I'm going to brush the top of all the buns with a little bit of butter. I'm trying to work quickly because there is still heat on the cookie sheet and I want to get them cooling on the rack as quickly as possible. All right. Okay, these are going to cool. I'm going to let the oven get back to temperature, and then I'm going to put the second sheet with rolls in it to bake. The bolletjes are done cooling off and they look absolutely delicious. A slight sheen on the top from the butter, nice golden brown from the egg wash, and you can just feel that they're really soft and really pillowy. So I'm going to open it up to see what it looks like in the middle. Look at the inside, beautiful crumb. And it smells absolutely delicious. Okay, I'm gonna start with a little bite from the bottom. Eet Smakelijk. Slight sweetness from the sugar, and you can definitely taste the butter, but the texture, it is nice and soft, just like I remember. Let's add a little bit of butter. And then, just because this is how I ate it as a kid, some hagelslag on top. Okay, a lot of hagelslag on top. And let's have a bite. Excuse me while I enjoy myself. So good. This brings me back to our day trips with my family, eating these, although they would be smooshed way more because they'd be in the backpack of my dad with other stuff. Most likely the hagelslag would be melted, but yeah, ooh, so good. One more bite. These are great. All right. before I finish this roll. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like and subscribe button and don't forget to share with your friends. If you have any questions about the recipe or memories of eating Witte Bolletjes, please post them in the comments below. I will post the recipe on my website toineskitchen.com in both metric and imperial measurements, and you can follow me on social media as well. If you make Witte Bolletjes, I would really appreciate it if you can post a photo on Instagram with the hashtag ToinesKitchen. I will share it in my story and on my website. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.